My fiancé said, "I'm not introducing you to my wealthy friends. You're too embarrassing." I replied, "Understood." Then I showed up to her elite country club as the owner's son. When she saw me shaking hands with her friends, I, 32 male, need to get this off my chest while it's still fresh. My now ex-fiancée Victoria, 29, just learned a very expensive lesson about assumptions and classism. We'd been together 3 years, engaged for 6 months. I work as a diesel mechanic, good honest work that pays well, but apparently not prestigious enough for Vic's taste. She works in pharmaceutical sales, makes decent money, and recently got accepted into this exclusive country club through her boss's sponsorship. $50K initiation fee, $1,200 monthly dues. The works. The problem started about 2 months ago when she got in. Suddenly, every weekend was about the club. Tennis with the girls, charity luncheons, wine tastings. Fine by me, I'm not much for that scene anyway. I prefer working on my '67 Camaro restoration or fishing. Then came the conversation that changed everything. Last Tuesday, she's getting ready for some gala at the club. "Victoria, so I'll be back around 11. Don't wait up." "Another solo event? When do I get to meet these new friends of yours?" She stops applying her makeup, gives me this look. "Daniel, we need to talk about that." "About what?" "Look, these people, they're different, they're refined, they discuss investments in art collections, not carburetors and fishing spots." So you'd be uncomfortable. And frankly," she pauses, choosing her words, "you'd embarrass me. The way you talk, your job, your hobbies, you're too blue-collar for that environment." I just stared at her. 3 years together, living in my house, yes mine, inherited from my grandmother, paid off, wearing the ring I bought, and I'm too embarrassing? Understood. Don't be like that. I'm trying to protect you from feeling out of place. No, really. I understand perfectly. She left for her gala. I made a phone call I'd been avoiding for 2 years. See, here's what Victoria didn't know. That country club she's so proud of joining, my father built it, from scratch. Started as a 9-hole golf course in 1987 and expanded it into what it is today. When he died 5 years ago, he left it to me and my sister Eleanor. I never mentioned it because, honestly, I wanted nothing to do with it. Dad and I had a complicated relationship. He thought I was wasting my life being a mechanic instead of wearing a suit. We barely spoke his last 10 years. Eleanor runs the business side. I'm a silent partner who just signs papers once a year and collects dividend checks. I mostly donate to the local technical college. But after Victoria's little speech, I called Eleanor. "Me, Ellie, I need to visit the club Saturday." "You're joking. You haven't set foot there since Dad's funeral." "Yeah, well, things change. There's a charity auction Saturday, right? The Children's Hospital fundraiser." "Why? Wait, is this about that woman you're seeing? The one who just joined?" Eleanor handles all the membership approvals. She knew exactly who Victoria was. "I need to make an appearance, as myself." "Oh, this is going to be good. Want me to make sure the staff knows you're coming?" "Me? Absolutely. Full treatment." Update 1: Saturday arrived. Victoria left early to help set up for the auction. I waited until the event was in full swing, then drove over in my truck, the same 03 F250 she always complained about me parking in the driveway. Walking through those doors felt surreal. The staff immediately recognized me. Eleanor did her job. The valet practically sprinted to take my keys. The general manager, Harrison, who'd worked for my dad for 20 years, nearly broke his professional composure. "Harrison, Mr. Fitzgerald, what an unexpected pleasure. Your sister mentioned you might attend." "Me, Harrison, good to see you. The place looks great. Shall I escort you to the Lafayette Ballroom?" "I know the way, but thank you." The ballroom was packed, about 200 people in their finest. I spotted Victoria immediately, holding court near the bar with a group of women, laughing at something. I recognized her boss, Carol, and some board member's wife she'd mentioned. But before I could approach them, a voice boomed across the room. "Danny Fitzgerald. Is that really you?" "Douglas Whitmore. Dad's best friend, current board president, and the closest thing I had to an uncle." He rushed over, grabbed me in a bear hug that probably scandalized half the room. "Doug, Eleanor said you might show. About damn time. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Fitzgerald is here." The room's attention shifted. Whispers started immediately. The Fitzgerald name carries weight here. Doug dragged me around, reintroducing me to people I hadn't seen in years. Board members, legacy families, people who remembered me as a kid running around the golf course. Every introduction was, "Bob, you remember Tom's son Daniel? He owns the place now." Then I saw Victoria's face. She'd gone completely white. Her champagne glass frozen halfway to her lips. Carol was saying something to her, but Vic wasn't responding, just staring. I made my way over, Doug still beside me. "Me, Carol, good to see you again." "Daniel, I had no idea you were— Wait, you two know each other?" Victoria found her voice. This is my fiancé." The silence was deafening. Carol's eyes went wide. The other women looked between us, computing. Doug, God bless him, made it worse. "Fiancé? Danny, you didn't mention you were engaged, and to one of our new members. Victoria, you're a lucky woman. The Fitzgeralds basically built this place." "Victoria, I need some air." She practically ran to the terrace. I didn't follow. Instead, I enjoyed the auction, bid $20K on a week in Aspen for the hospital, not the trip, and had actual conversations with people she deemed too refined for me. Funny thing, they were fascinated by my work. One guy collects classic cars and peppered me with questions about restoration. Another wanted advice on buying a boat. Turns out rich people have hobbies too. Victoria texted me furiously throughout, "We need to talk now." "This isn't funny. You lied to me. Daniel, please. Stop ignoring me." I didn't respond. I was too busy having a conversation with her boss Carol about how Victoria had described me as working in transportation and how she'd been angling for introductions to the important families. "Carol, she said you were uncomfortable in social situations." "Did she know?" "Daniel, I'm mortified. If I'd known she was treating Tom's son like that." "Not your fault. People show you who they are eventually." Update 2: I left the auction around 10 p.m. Victoria's car was gone, but she was waiting at my house, pacing the living room. "Victoria, 3 years. You hid this for 3 years." "I didn't hide anything. You never asked." "Bullshit. You deliberately made me think you were just some mechanic." "I am a mechanic. I fix diesel engines. That's my job." "You own a country club." "Me. I inherited a quarter of a country club. Eleanor owns another quarter and the trust owns the rest. I don't run it. I don't work there. I barely acknowledge it exists." "Victoria, do you have any idea how humiliated I am? I've been telling everyone my fiancé couldn't possibly fit in, and you're literally their landlord." "You're humiliated? You told me I was too embarrassing to be seen with. You said I'd embarrass you. That was before I knew." And that's the problem, Vic. She tried everything. Tears, apologies, accusations, claimed I tested her and she failed, that it wasn't fair, that I should have told her. Maybe she had a point about the testing, but I didn't set out to test anyone. I just wanted to be loved for who I am, not what I inherited. Me? You know what the real kicker is? If you just introduced me as your mechanic fiancé, nobody would have cared. Doug knew what I did for a living. Harrison knew. They respect honest work. The only person who thought I was embarrassing was you. Victoria, I was trying to protect us both. No, you were trying to protect your image. There's a difference. She moved to the couch, trying a different approach. Soft voice, batting eyes, the works. We can get past this. We're still getting married in 4 months. This doesn't change anything. You're right, it doesn't change anything. You showed me exactly who you are. I just showed you who I am. And we're not getting married. You can't be serious? Over one conversation? Over you fundamentally not respecting me or what I do. Take off the ring, Vic. That's when she lost it. Full meltdown. Screaming about the deposits we'd lose, how her parents already bought their plane tickets, how I was ruining her life over nothing. Me. I'll cover the deposits. Your parents can use the tickets for a vacation, and you ruined your own life when you decided I wasn't good enough for your new friends. Victoria, I'm not giving the ring back. It's mine. Me? Keep it. Consider it severance for 3 years of pretending to be someone you're not. She threw the ring at me anyway and stormed out. I heard her car peel out of the driveway. Sunday morning, woke up to 27 missed calls from Victoria, 12 from her mother Patricia, and about 50 texts ranging from, "I'm sorry," to "You're a monster," to "We can work this out." But the best part? Carol called me directly. Carol, Daniel, I need you to know. Victoria won't be returning to our company. That seems harsh. This is personal, not professional. She's been name-dropping her connections at the club to clients, promising introductions she couldn't deliver. Now I know why. She was using perceived social status. She didn't actually have to close deals. That's fraud in my book. Karma's funny like that. Update 3. The entitlement escalation was something else. Monday morning, Victoria's mom, Patricia, showed up at my work, at the diesel shop, in her white Mercedes, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. We need to discuss the situation like adults. I'm working, Patricia. Victoria is devastated. She's had to move back home. Do you have any idea what you've done to her reputation? What I've done, that's rich. She made one tiny mistake. Me. She told me I was too embarrassing to meet her friends. Because she didn't know who you were. Any woman would want to show off a man with your assets, and there it was. The real issue. Not that Victoria had been cruel, but that she'd been cruel to someone with money. So it would have been fine if I was actually just a mechanic? Don't twist my words. Victoria deserves a lifestyle befitting her ambitions. Me? Then she should earn it herself. I'm not a lottery ticket. Patricia actually tried to negotiate, like this was a business deal, offered to have Victoria sign a prenup, promised she'd learn to appreciate me, even suggested couples counseling. Me? Patricia, she's not getting back in. Please leave before I have you escorted out. She huffed but left. Then the real games began. Tuesday, I get a call from Eleanor. Eleanor, you're not going to believe this. Victoria tried to use her membership to book the grand ballroom. For what, Eleanor? Her wedding, to you. She told the events coordinator you'd reconciled and wanted to move the venue here as a romantic gesture. Cancel it. Already done. But Danny, I also had to revoke her membership. Why? She charged $8,000 worth of champagne and food to the member account over the weekend, claiming it was for a Fitzgerald family event. When accounting called to verify, she said you'd authorized it. The audacity was breathtaking. She was literally trying to spend money she assumed I had. Wednesday brought a new player. Victoria's ex-boyfriend, Trevor, reached out via LinkedIn of all places. Bro, heard about you and Vic. Same thing happened to me 2 years ago. She found out my dad owned commercial real estate and suddenly wanted to get back together. When I said no, she tried to say she was pregnant. Watch yourself. That was concerning enough that I screenshot everything and sent it to my lawyer buddy. Just in case. Thursday was the peak. Victoria showed up at the country club during the ladies' tennis tournament. Eleanor called me immediately. Eleanor, security has her at the gate. She's telling everyone she's still your fiancée and demanding entry. Me, let me handle this. I drove over. Found Victoria arguing with the security guard, tears streaming down her face, making a scene in front of arriving members. Daniel, thank God, tell them who I am. Me, I know exactly who you are. You're a former member who's no longer welcome on the property. You can't do this. I have friends here. Then they can meet you somewhere else. This is illegal. I paid my dues. Eleanor had walked up behind me. Actually, your membership was sponsored by Carol Hendricks through her corporate account. Since you no longer work there and you've committed fraud against the club, your membership is terminated. You'll receive a full refund of your personal contribution, which was $0. The gathering crowd was whispering. Some were recording on their phones. Victoria's carefully crafted image was crumbling in real time. Victoria, getting desperate. I'll sue. This is discrimination. Me. On what grounds? Victoria, emotional distress, breach of promise. You proposed to me. And you told me I was too embarrassing to be seen with. That offer was rescinded the moment you showed your true character. She tried one last manipulation. I'm pregnant. The crowd gasped. I just laughed. Me, no, you're not. Victoria, how would you know? Me, because we haven't been intimate in 2 months. You've been too busy with your club activities. Plus, your ex Trevor warned me you'd try this move. Her face went from fake tears to pure rage. Victoria, you're all witnessing this abuse. He's humiliating me publicly. Doug Whitmore stepped forward. Ma'am, you're trespassing on private property. If you don't leave voluntarily, we'll have to call the police. That did it. She stormed off to her car, but not before screaming, "You'll regret this, Daniel. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are." Final update. It's been 3 weeks since the country club confrontation. The aftermath was swift and brutal for Victoria. Turns out her little scene was recorded by multiple people. Someone posted it on TikTok with the caption, "Gold digger finds out her mechanic fiancé owns the country club she tried to exclude him from." It went semi-viral locally. 2.3 million views last I checked. Victoria tried damage control, posted this long Instagram story about how she was manipulated and gaslit by a man pretending to be someone he wasn't. Problem was, nobody bought it. The comments were brutal. "Girl, you literally said he was too embarrassing to meet your friends. So it's his fault you're a snob? Imagine fumbling a bag this hard." Her reputation in our mid-sized city's social scene? Destroyed. Patricia called me one last time, begging me to make it stop. I told her I wasn't doing anything. Victoria's own actions were just having consequences. The professional fallout was worse. Carol, her former boss, apparently sent a warning to others in their industry about Victoria's ethical flexibility. She couldn't get another pharma sales job. Last I heard, she was working at a wellness MLM, posting about boss babe life and rising from adversity. The ring? She tried to pawn it, but found out it was worth way less than she thought. I bought it from a friend who's a jeweler. Beautiful ring, but lab-created diamonds and white gold instead of platinum. Still cost me $3,000, but she was expecting $30,000. Another assumption that bit her. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. Eleanor and I have actually gotten closer through this. We started having dinner once a week, talking about Dad, the club, everything we never discussed before. She convinced me to be more involved with the family legacy, not as an owner, but as an advisor for their new vocational training program. Turns out I can help kids who want to work with their hands get scholarships and apprenticeships. Met someone new at the technical college where I volunteer teaching a diesel maintenance class. Amy's a welding instructor, doesn't give a damn about country clubs, and thinks my truck is badass. When I told her the whole story on our third date, she nearly choked on her beer laughing. Amy, wait, so she thought you weren't good enough for her rich friends, but you literally owned the building? Me, quarter-owned, but yeah. That's the most beautiful karma I've ever heard. Please tell me someone got it on video. I showed her the TikTok. She watched it 3 times, wheezing with laughter. The part where she says she's pregnant and you just go, "No, you're not." Dead. I'm dead. We've been dating 2 months now. She came to the club with me last week for Eleanor's birthday dinner. No pretense, no anxiety about fitting in. She wore jeans and a nice blouse, talked to everyone like normal people, and had Doug Whitmore obsessed with her restored '78 Bronco by the end of the night. Doug pulled me aside. "This one's different, Danny. She looks at you, not what you come with." He's right. Amy doesn't care about the inheritance or the club membership. She cares that I make her laugh, that I fixed her dad's tractor for free, and that I volunteer at the animal shelter on weekends. The actual me, not the bank account. Victoria, meanwhile, tried one final play. Sent me a long email about how she's grown from the experience and deserves a second chance. How she's been in therapy, doubt it, and realizes she loved me for me, not what I had. Bigger doubt. Ended with, "I'm willing to forgive you for the deception if you're willing to forgive my mistakes." The entitlement never dies, does it? She's willing to forgive me? I didn't respond, just forwarded it to Eleanor, who laughed so hard she cried. Eleanor, the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this. Ellie? What? She called you embarrassing, then tried to steal champagne. I said what I said. Looking back, Victoria did me a favor. If she hadn't shown her true colors over the country club, I might have actually married her. Would have spent my life with someone who saw me as beneath her, only to flip when she found out about the money. That's not love. That's a business transaction. Now I'm with someone who'd date me if I really was just a diesel mechanic living paycheck to paycheck. Because that's who I am at heart. A guy who likes working with his hands, restoring old cars, and fishing on Sunday mornings. The inheritance is just numbers in an account I barely touch. The country club? I still rarely go, except for family events or the occasional charity thing. But now when I do show up, in my jeans and work boots, members treat me with respect, not because of who my father was, but because they saw what happened when someone didn't. Victoria is still posting about her journey and growth on social media, still trying to portray herself as the victim who's rising above. But everyone knows the truth. She played herself, thought she was trading up to a better social circle, only to realize she'd been living with her golden ticket the whole time. As Amy says, karma doesn't always come quickly, but when it does, damn, it's satisfying. Couldn't agree more. My fiancé said, "I'm not signing a prenup, but I need you to add me to your house deed before the wedding to show trust." I replied, "Let me think about it." Then I had the house appraised. Turns out her lawyer friend was actually her affair partner planning to force a sale. When I confronted them both with the PI photos at her bridal shower, original post I, 41 male, am sitting in what used to be our bedroom, staring at the engagement ring she left on the dresser. 3 months ago, I thought I was the luckiest man alive. Now I'm just another guy who learned that when someone shows you red flags, you better pay attention. Met Rebecca, 36, 2 years ago, at a charity golf tournament. She was volunteering. I was playing badly. She laughed at my terrible swing. I bought her a drink. Classic meet cute, right? She was everything I thought I wanted. Beautiful, ambitious, worked as a marketing director at a tech startup. We clicked instantly. I'd been divorced for 5 years, had my life together. Good job as a senior engineer, nice house I'd bought after the divorce, decent savings. Rebecca seemed to appreciate that I was stable, mature, had my act together. She'd complain about guys her age being man-children, and loved that I owned my home, had a real career, wasn't playing games. We got engaged last year. Small proposal, just us at her favorite restaurant. She cried, said yes, posted it everywhere. Her friends were thrilled. My friends were cautiously optimistic. My buddy Dennis kept saying, "Seems fast, bro," but I figured he was just bitter from his own divorce. Then 3 months ago, wedding planning in full swing, she drops this bomb over dinner. So I've been thinking, I'm not comfortable signing a prenup. It feels like you're planning for our marriage to fail. I set down my fork. Rebecca, we discussed this. I have the house, retirement accounts, some investments, you have student loans. A prenup protects both of us. But if you really trusted me, you wouldn't need legal documents. Actually, she paused, twirling her wine glass, I think you should add me to the house deed before the wedding, to show you're serious about us being equals. I nearly choked on my water. Add you to the deed? On the house I bought myself? Partners share everything, Tom. If you're not willing to share your life with me, why are we even getting married? The entitlement in her voice was something new, or maybe I just hadn't noticed it before. Let me think about it, I said, trying to stay calm. She smiled, reached over, squeezed my hand. I knew you'd understand. My friend Bradley is a lawyer. He can handle the paperwork, make it super easy. Bradley. She'd mentioned him before. Some lawyer friend from her CrossFit gym who was so helpful with legal advice. Never met the guy, but she brought him up a lot lately. That night, something felt off. Really off. Update 1. The next morning, I called my divorce lawyer, Peterson. Good guy, helped me keep most of my assets in the divorce, explained the situation. Tom, he said slowly, don't add anyone to that deed. In fact, get that house appraised. Now. Why? Because if she's on the deed and you split, she can force a sale. She'd get half the equity even if she never paid a penny toward it. And this Bradley character handling it? Red flag, my friend. I hired an appraiser that week. Told Rebecca I was getting it done for insurance purposes. She seemed weirdly excited about that. The house appraised at $680,000. I'd bought it for $420,000 5 years ago. The market had exploded. That's $260,000 in equity she'd get just by being on the deed. But here's what made my stomach drop. Rebecca knew the exact appraisal amount before I told her. We were having dinner and she goes, "So the house is worth almost $700 now, huh? We could do so much with that equity." I hadn't told her the number. The appraiser hadn't sent the report yet. Only person who knew was the appraiser. How do you know that? She froze for a second. Oh, you mentioned it. No, I didn't. Well, I just assumed. Houses in this area are all going for that much. BS detector going crazy now. I hired a PI the next day. Felt scummy doing it, but that feeling in my gut was screaming. Gave him Rebecca's info, Bradley the lawyer's name, told him to see what he could find. 3 days later, he called. You sitting down? Why? Bradley Morrison isn't just her lawyer friend. They've been meeting at hotels twice a week for the past 4 months. I have photos. They're explicit. My hands went numb. Send them. The photos came through. Rebecca and Bradley at the Marriott, at his apartment, in his car. The timestamps went back to before she started pushing about the prenup, but the PI wasn't done. There's more. I did some digging on Bradley. He's not exactly thriving, drowning in debt actually, had 2 failed real estate ventures, and get this, he specializes in property law, specifically partition sales. What's that? When co-owners force the sale of a property to get their share, it's his specialty. The pieces clicked. She gets on the deed, married or not, she can force me to sell. She gets $340K, splits it with Bradley. They'd been planning this for months. I sat there staring at the photos. My fiancée, the woman I was going to marry in 6 weeks, in bed with another man. A man she was conspiring with to steal my house. The rage was indescribable. But then, clarity. Cold, perfect clarity. Her bridal shower was in 2 weeks, 40 guests, her mom, sisters, friends, everyone. I smiled for the first time in days. Update 2. The next 2 weeks were Oscar-worthy on my part. I played the perfect fiancé, talked about our future, helped with wedding planning, even met with Bradley about the deed transfer. Bradley was exactly what I expected. Spray-tanned, too much cologne, kept calling me buddy and talking about how lucky I was to have Rebecca. The smirk on his face when discussing the deed made me want to punch him. Instead, I smiled and said I needed a few more days to review everything. No rush, buddy, he said, shooting Rebecca a look, but sooner is better, for tax purposes. Rebecca squeezed my arm. Bradley's just looking out for us, honey? Sure, he was. I kept the PI on retainer. Got more photos, videos. They met at Bradley's apartment the day before the bridal shower. The PI got audio of them in Bradley's car. 2 more weeks, and we're set. He's completely clueless. Laughing, I almost feel bad. Almost. He's sweet but so boring. Once we get the house sold, we can finally be together for real. How much are we getting again? At least $300K after the sale. Maybe more if the market keeps going up. God, you're brilliant. I learned from the best, baby. The sound of kissing. I threw up in my office trash can. The bridal shower was at Rebecca's sister Nicole's house. Big backyard, tent rental, the works. I wasn't supposed to be there. Girls only event, but I had a delivery to make. Showed up at 2 p.m. Peak party time. Could hear the laughter from the street. Rebecca's mom, Janet, answered the door. Tom, what are you doing here? This is bad luck. Hi, Janet. I have something important to share with everyone. About the wedding. She looked confused but let me in. The backyard was decorated in white and gold. 40 women, champagne flowing, presents piled high. Rebecca was in the middle, wearing a little tiara that said bride-to-be, opening gifts. She saw me and her face went from surprised to annoyed to fake happy in 3 seconds. Baby, what are you doing here? I walked to the center of the party. Everyone was staring. Ladies, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have something everyone needs to see before the wedding. I pulled out my phone, connected it to Nicole's Bluetooth speaker. She'd given me the password months ago, and hit play on the audio from Bradley's car. Rebecca's voice filled the backyard. I almost feel bad. Almost. He's sweet but so boring. Once we get the house sold, we can finally be together for real. The silence was deafening. Rebecca's face went white, then red. That's not what it sounds like. I held up the printed photos. Rebecca and Bradley at the hotel. Made sure her mom got a good look. It's exactly what it sounds like. You've been having an affair with Bradley for 4 months. You two planned to get me to add you to my house deed, then force a sale, split the money and run off together. Gasps. Someone dropped a champagne glass. Janet started crying. Rebecca, tell him he's wrong. Rebecca's mask finally slipped. Pure rage. You hired someone to follow me? You psychopath. That's illegal. Actually, it's not. And neither is recording 2 people conspiring to commit fraud in a public parking lot. She stood up, wobbling in her heels. You can't prove anything. Bradley is just a friend helping with legal matters. Right, friends who meet at the Marriott every Tuesday and Thursday. Friends who discuss stealing $300 from me. Her sister Nicole looked disgusted. Becca, what the hell? Shut up, Nicole. You wouldn't understand. Tom's loaded. He can afford it. That house is half mine anyway. I've been living there. For 8 months, I said calmly, paying 0 rent, 0 utilities, contributing nothing while planning to rob me. Her cousin stood up. I think you should leave, Tom. I'm going. But first, I pulled out a manila envelope, handed it to Rebecca. You've been served. Eviction notice. You have 30 days to get out of my house. Your belongings are already packed. Dennis and Mike are loading them into a truck as we speak. You can pick them up at the storage unit on Riverside. First month's paid. After that, it's on you. She lunged at me. You can't kick me out. We're engaged. Her mom and sister had to hold her back. Not anymore, I said, staying calm. The engagement's off, obviously. The wedding venue, vendors, everything's been canceled. I sent emails an hour ago. Oh, and Bradley's wife got copies of everything too. Figured she should know what her husband's been up to. That stopped Rebecca cold. Bradley's wife? Melissa, lovely woman, pregnant with their second kid. She's filing for divorce Monday, probably taking him for everything he's worth, which isn't much according to my lawyer. Rebecca collapsed into a chair. The rage was gone. Just shock now. Update 3. Left the bridal shower to the sound of chaos. Rebecca screaming, her mom trying to calm her down, guests fleeing like the place was on fire. Nicole texted me later that night. Holy hell, Tom. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Not your fault. She's losing it. Broke a bunch of dishes, blamed everyone but herself. Mom's devastated. Sorry this ruined your party. Are you kidding? This was the most excitement we've had in years. Also, you're a legend. Got home to find Rebecca had tried to break in. Scratches all around the lock. Doorbell camera caught her kicking the door and screaming. Sent that footage to my lawyer too. Bradley started blowing up my phone. Threats about lawsuits, defamation, harassment. My lawyer shut that down quick with a cease and desist letter. Then Bradley's wife Melissa called me. Tom, I wanted to thank you. For ruining your marriage? She laughed bitterly. For saving me years of my life? I suspected something but could never prove it. He's been moving money around, hiding assets. Now I know why. I'm sorry you're going through this. Don't be. I'm taking the house, the car, and full custody. My lawyer says with the evidence you provided, Bradley's screwed. Small comfort, I guess. Rebecca tried everything over the next week. Showed up at my work crying, security removed her, had her mom call begging me to reconsider. Janet was nice, but I held firm. Sent a fake suicide threat text. I called 911 for a wellness check. She was fine, just pissed. Posted on social media about her abusive ex. I posted the hotel photos in response. She deleted everything. Threatened to claim I assaulted her. My lawyer reminded her about the consequences of false police reports. Then came the extinction burst. Sorry, I know that term is overused, but that's exactly what this was. Update 4. 2 weeks after the shower, I'm at work when building security calls. Mr. Thompson? There's a situation in the parking garage. I knew before I even got down there. My truck was destroyed. Windows smashed, tires slashed, asshole keyed into every panel. Rebecca standing there with a baseball bat, crying and screaming. You ruined my life. Bradley won't even talk to me. His wife is divorcing him. My family thinks I'm trash. This is your fault. Security already had the cops on the way. I just stood there recording on my phone. Rebecca, you're on camera destroying my property. I don't care. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your own life. You chose to cheat. You chose to try to steal from me. These are consequences. She swung the bat at me. I stepped back. She missed, fell on her face. Cops showed up right then. Beautiful timing. They arrested her on the spot. Vandalism, attempted assault with a deadly weapon. The damage to my truck was over $12,000. Felony territory. Her mom bailed her out the next day, but the damage was done. Photos of her in cuffs went viral in our social circle. Bradley had already thrown her under the bus, telling everyone she seduced him. And it was all her idea. Real class act, that guy. The best part? My insurance covered the truck damage, and they're going after Rebecca for the full amount plus legal fees. But wait, there's more. Last week, Rebecca's former employer reached out. Turns out she'd been using her company credit card for her hotel meets with Bradley. Thousands in personal charges. They're pressing charges for embezzlement. Her lawyer, not Bradley, he's too busy with his own divorce, reached out about a plea deal. She'll plead guilty to the vandalism, pay restitution, do community service if I don't pursue additional civil charges. I agreed, but with conditions. Full restraining order, permanent. She admits in writing to the affair and the attempted fraud. She pays for my truck damage in full. She never contacts me or comes within 500 feet of my property. Her lawyer said she had no choice but to accept. Final update. It's been 3 months since the bridal shower bomb drop. Time for the final update on this disaster. Rebecca took the plea deal. 6 months probation, 200 hours of community service, full restitution for my truck. The restraining order is permanent. She had to write a letter admitting to everything, the affair, the fraud attempt, all of it. My lawyer has it in case she ever tries anything again. Bradley's life imploded. His wife, Melissa, took him to the cleaners. She got the house, both cars, full custody of the kids, and alimony. His law practice tanked when word got out about the fraud attempt. Last I heard, he was living in a studio apartment and working document review for $25 an hour. Karma's a beautiful thing. Rebecca's working at a call center now. Her marketing career is toast. Turns out embezzling from your employer makes you unhireable in that field. She's living with her parents. Janet calls occasionally to apologize. I tell her it's not her fault, but I can hear the disappointment in her voice when she talks about Rebecca. Nicole and I actually became friends through this. She checks in every couple weeks, says Rebecca still blames everyone but herself. Still thinks I overreacted and ruined her life over a mistake. No accountability whatsoever. Found out some interesting backstory from Nicole. This wasn't Rebecca's first rodeo. She'd done something similar with an ex 5 years ago. Moved in with him, tried to get him to co-sign on a condo, dumped him when he refused. He dodged a bullet. Wish he'd warned me. The wedding vendors were cool about the cancellations. Most gave partial refunds. Lost about $8,000 total on deposits, but considering what could have happened, I'll take that loss. As for me, I'm good. Better than good, actually. Got a promotion at work. Turns out avoiding a catastrophic marriage is great for productivity. Started seeing someone new. Amy, a fellow engineer who owns her own house and actually insisted on a prenup when I jokingly brought it up on our 3rd date. We're taking it slow, but it's nice being with someone who has their own life together. The house is all mine, no complications. Actually refinanced last month at a better rate. That equity Rebecca wanted so badly, using it to renovate the kitchen. Granite countertops, new appliances, the works. My buddy Dennis, he framed the eviction notice I served Rebecca. It's hanging in his garage with a plaque that says, "Trust your gut, 2024. He brings every new girlfriend by to see it and tell the story. I've become a cautionary tale and a legend simultaneously. Rebecca tried reaching out once through a mutual friend last month, wanted to apologize and get closure. I declined. She made her choices, I made mine. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. They're meant to stay burned as reminders. Looking back, the red flags were there. How quickly she pushed to move in. How she never wanted to discuss finances but wanted access to mine. How she always had expensive taste but never wanted to contribute. How this Bradley guy suddenly appeared once marriage was on the table. How she went from "I love you" to "give me half your house" in record time. Lessons learned. 1. Trust your gut, it's usually right. 2. If someone refuses a prenup, run. 3. If they want to be added to assets they didn't help acquire, run faster. 4. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. 5. PIs are worth every penny. 6. Always have security cameras. 7. Document everything. To anyone reading this going through something similar, you're not crazy. Your concerns are valid. Don't let anyone gaslight you into ignoring red flags. And when someone tries to steal from you while sleeping with someone else, let them face every consequence coming their way. No regrets, no looking back, just forward. Thanks for following this insane journey, Reddit. May your partners be faithful and your assets stay protected. Tom out.